Okay, today is a big day. We finally are able to seed the nighttime area. What I'm showing you here is a copy of our soils report that we got from Clemson. Um, as you can look at the date here, we sent in the report at the end of February and there was a snafu. Either the email went into my junk folder or they typed in the wrong email, one of the two, but either way, we just got it actually this week. And it's a bunch of gobbledygook, but a couple things to note. Our dirt is high in phosphorus. So we don't need to add phosphorus. We need to actually try to reduce the phosphorus in the dirt. And if you see here, our pH is extremely low for the dirt. It's a 5.4. Except for like blueberries and stuff like that. Most things don't like that low of a pH. So down here, they have, I picked out 4 different things. The top one was turf establishment, and the bottom one was the garden, which are the 2 I was important with. Then there's a bunch of numbers here. And without boring everybody, because you flip over to, the next page, and it has what all the numbers mean. But pretty much, the main thing we need to do is we need to raise the pH of the dirt. And to do that, you use something called dolomitic lime. And so they want 37 pounds of lime per 1,000 square feet. That is a lot of lime. Now, luckily we have sandy soil, because if we had clay soil, we'd have to be adding a lot more lime than that. And then because we're high in phosphorus, they want a 15-0-15 fertilizer. The 3 numbers, it's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And so it's going to raise a little bit of the nitrogen, raise a little bit of the potassium, and hopefully lower the phosphorus a little bit. So we shall see. So I wanted to show you this, show you what the soils report. In South Carolina, Clemson is the agriculture school. So for like 10 bucks or 15 bucks or something, you can get a soils report, and you ship it to them, and then they give you the printout, which is what you're looking at right now. So we're going to go outside and show you what all has to be done. Okay, this is what the nighttime area looks like. It's been a little more than 4 weeks since we applied the complete herbicide. And as you can see, some of the crabgrass did not die. And 2 weeks ago, we came in and put in a broadleaf because a whole bunch of broadleaf was starting to pop up. And so, as you can tell, because everything's starting to come back, that it's time to put down the grass seed. But between the recommendations that Clemson sent and what you need to do for the Bermuda, we just can't chuck the grass seed down. So it's going to be a process. So I have my garden tractor over here with my little broadcast spreader. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to broadcast the lime, and then when I'm done with the lime, I'm going to broadcast the fertilizer. Then when I'm done with the fertilizer, then I'm going to start cultivating. So let me come over here and show you what the lime and the fertilizer looks like. Okay, here is our fertilizer. The place we got it is called Verine's. That's in the Longs area, which is a little east of us. They are the people, at least in this area, in the Myrtle Beach area. They provide all the sod, the fertilizer, and everything to pretty much all the golf courses and everything in the area. So I figure if it's good enough for the golf courses, it's good enough for us. But as you can see here, this is what it has. It has the nitrogen and it has the potash, which I think the potash is the potassium. But the main thing is it has no phosphorus in it. So this is a 50-pound bag. We're only gonna use about 25 pounds of this. So let me move this out of the way and get to the lime. Okay, here's the lime. It's pelletized limestone. And the dolomitic limestone, I had to look this up. If you use garden lime, it just has calcium carbonate in it, or I think it's calcium carbonate. But the dolomitic has also magnesium in it. So it's better for like a lawn application, or at least so I've been told. And so you can read all that stuff there. And then it says for professional use, so I guess I'm professional. Who knew? But this is 100 pounds right here, and that 100 pounds is going just inside the nighttime area, because we had to put 37 pounds approximately per 1,000 square feet, and we have about between 2,500 and 3,000 square feet in the nighttime area. So I'm going to apply it now, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like before I start actually tilling it up. A couple quick things I forgot to add. First of all, that's what the limestone looks like. So that's a 50-pound bag. Got the other 50-pound bag on deck. The other thing is, yesterday in 3 different bursts, we had one overnight, one about 6 o'clock, one about 8 o'clock. We got about an inch of rain. So the ground is nice and moist. So it should make going into the ground easier when I use the cultivator, which is good, because even though we got sandy soil, if it hadn't rained for a long time, it does get kind of hard. Not nearly as hard as clay, and I'm not trying to say that, but it is significantly harder once if it hadn't rained for a while. So just wanted to show you that. I'll also show you the fertilizer when I get it in here. Alright, I hope you can hear me over the tractor. I have it on low idle, but here is the fertilizer. So I'm still getting used to the broadcast spreader, so it's kind of a little uneven on the mixture, but it'll be okay. I'm sure we'll have to apply more after it gets established, but just wanted to show you what the fertilizer looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like after it's been applied. So let me come down so you can see the lime and the fertilizer. So what I'm going to do now is I have the cultivator attached to the tractor. I'm going to run over this probably at least twice, maybe 3 times, to try to break it up, because the Clemson directions said to make sure that it's tilled 4 inches into the ground. Then our power cultivator stopped working on us, and we're actually getting a refund on that, and we're going to buy a better one later. But only thing we have left are garden rakes and a hand cultivator, which is going to be a whole lot of not fun. But hopefully we can do this before it starts getting too hot. And sisters are over there trying to figure out what I'm doing. So let me start the tilling, then we'll go from there. Okay, that is one swipe with the cultivator. As you can see, broke it up fairly good, but not nearly enough. So I'm going to come back in. I'm going to go the opposite direction. I went clockwise this way, so now I'm going to go counterclockwise and see what it does there. And then if it doesn't do good there, then I'm going to come in and do it a 3rd time. But let's just see what happens. Okay, here's the 2nd round with the cultivator. I went the opposite direction. It looks a lot more cultivated. So now what we need to do is we need to do it the old-fashioned way. And by old-fashioned way, I mean we got to get the rakes and the hand cultivator out and do all of this, which is going to be a whole lot of not fun. but it's still fairly early in the morning, and as of right now there's a little breeze, so I will take it. Okay, so the rest of the prep is finally done. That is about 2.5 hours of my life that I do not get back. Andrea too. And since we didn't have a cultivator, we had to do it all by hand. And when I meant by hand, this is what we used. There's a regular garden rake, which is what I used, and our little hand cultivator here, which is what Andrea used. I don't know if we got down the actual 4 inches that the Clemson report recommended, but we got as good as we could. And we also got some of the grass out, but we did not get it all out. If the Bermuda can take hold, it will choke all the grass out anyway. The Bermuda can even choke out the crabgrass when it's established properly. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this sit today, and then in the morning we're going to seed, and then we're going to rake it up again. So that is it for today. Sisters were over there watching us most of the time, and when we come over here and take breaks because it was in the shade, they come over and complain at us. So that's kind of funny. So that is it for today, and we shall get the seeding tomorrow. All right, on a sidebar, this is what the farmer planted, and he came back earlier this week and actually put in some fertilizer, because if you can see it, it's rained since then, so you can't really see it as well as you did a couple of days ago, but there's little rows that are parallel to the actual plants, about 4 inches away. That's the fertilizer, because on Clemson recommendations for the garden, it said to fertilize and put 4 inches away from your garden plants when they're about 3 weeks out of the ground, which is what these have been. So just wanted to do that as a little side note. So we'll be back tomorrow and we will finish this up. Okay, it is the next morning. So this has sat here all night. Luckily it did not rain last night. So except for the dew in the morning, this is exactly the way we left it. So what I have here is I have a little hand seeder, and this is 5 pounds of hulled Bermuda grass. And so this is what we're going to be planting in here today. This Bermuda grass is not cheap. It's like $18 a pound. And the place where we got the Bermuda grass is the same place we got the fertilizer. And they don't carry coated seed, where the Bahia seed we got, which was from the same place, was coated, but the Bermuda grass is not. So what we're going to do today, the only thing we get to do today, is I have to spread this, and then we're going to get the back end of the rake with the tines up, and we'll lightly spread the ground over. And we'll also set up where the water stations are going to be for the sprinklers. So that's what we're doing today. And so when I get the seed down, I'll come back. Okay, the grass seed is in, and we have raked it up. So now I'm field testing my sprinkler system here. So we got one over there, we got one over here, and we got a Y connection over there. And so there's not enough pressure to run them both at the same time, so we're gonna have to do them separate. So I want to get a good 30 minutes of this. Bermuda grass needs about 1 inch a week of rain. We've been getting more than that lately, but I don't know the next time it's going to rain, so I just want to get them a good soak so they can get it good started. The Bermuda grass is going to take about 7 days to germinate. So hopefully in about a week or so, we'll be able to see some of the fruits of our labor.